everybody, and welcome back. Welcome to, for the first time, if you're just joining us, a brand new edition of Weed on Wrestling podcast. Almost daily podcast where I talk about everything in the wrestling world, of course, while I'm high as balls. And I did not have enough weed last night to make the WWE Fastlane pay-per-view even somewhat entertaining. Bad show. Just a bad show overall. No real bright spots. One kind of good bright spot, I'll get to that here in a little bit, but just a bad taste overall left in my mouth after the actual show. But I went into it with a negative feeling. I went into it having technical difficulties streaming the actual show, the pre-show and the actual show, on the phone for over an hour, on hold for 20 minutes, but that's beside the point. And this is coming to you a day late because last night I sat down, recorded an entire thing, had just about 45 minutes, an hour's worth of material that I was going to put up onto the website, onto the Twitter and all that, upload the podcasts, and I go to send my file over and it just won't send. Lose my file last night at about 3 a.m. Decided, fuck it, going to bed. Gonna do it all over again today. And that's why I'm here recording a brand new podcast for the Fastlane pay-per-view last night. Weed on Wrestling right here. I am your host, of course, Weed, a.k.a. Alan. And let's get right into things. Again, didn't really get to see the whole kickoff show. I kind of got to see bits and pieces of the tag team match between Noam Dar and Brian Kendrick versus Tozawa and Rich Swann. It was some good little flippy shit. It was a decent little match. When they were actually able to go over the top and through the middle, Rich Swann diving over the top, doing his little flip, Tozawa diving through the ropes, headbutting. It was good. It was good. What the fuck was Brian Kendrick wearing was my only question moving forward. Bright pink, way too tight leggings. It just wasn't a good look for you there, Brian Kendrick. The hiding behind the chick thing to avoid Tozawa and Rich Swann on the first attempt that they did. Noam Dar and Brian Kendrick both grab Alicia Fox to kind of protect themselves. Entertaining. I mean, it was a good match. Like most cruiserweights, though, I'm left wanting more after the match was over. It's almost like they cut them too short and don't let them fully reach what potential they have. In my opinion, I think Tozawa needs a bigger push. I think Tozawa would make a good match between him and, say, Neville or Jack Gallagher, somebody like that. But I would love to be able to talk more about the pre-show. I can't. I'm still having the technical difficulties, the issues with the network. And then finally, let's go kind of switch gears and go on to the main show. And it was so confusing. From the start of the show to the end of the show, it was all just so confusing. Like, okay, we start out with what could potentially be match of the year candidate, match of the night for sure, and it didn't live up to the hype. I mean, it was a good match, don't get me wrong. Sami Zayn, probably one of the best sellers in the business. Him and Dolph Ziggler, probably two of the best sellers in the business. I just don't want what happened to Dolph Ziggler happen to Sami Zayn. And I have a feeling that's what's coming to fruition. I have a feeling that's what's going to happen because he is such a good seller. He's going to be put in spots for the rest of his career to get a major star over. That's what he did with Braun Strowman. That's what he's doing with Samoa Joe. Now, if you look back, Samoa Joe, Sami Zayn fought for the entire duration almost of an NXT show. 45 minutes of wrestling, of entertainment. And then you put them on first in a pay-per-view, and it lasts 15, 20 minutes, if even that, 10, 5. It just wasn't a good match because We as the fans are left wondering, where do we go from here? Is the whole show going to be so good that this doesn't live up, or is this going to outshine the whole show? Like I expected, it was a good fucking match. It just lacked any real attachment we as the fans could get behind. The universe was left wanting more. I mean, they went through the motions. It was nice. But again, I expected more. Joe wins by a chokeout, rear naked choke. Not bad, but just kind of meh. That was my impression over the whole show. Was just meh. And that set it up to kind of continue throughout the entire night of just meh entertainment. Right. Moving on, let me hit this, I'll get back to you. Okay. Next up, Enzo and Cass versus Gallows and Anderson. Going into it, I thought Enzo and Cass were going to win. I thought we were setting up two of the biggest faces to face off at WrestleMania, with Big Cass taking on New Day. New Day going to take back their belts, but that's not what happened. It was a good match. But anytime that you have the caliber of wrestlers like Anderson and Gallows in the ring, it's going to be a good match. And I gotta give it to Enzo. He is what makes Enzo and Cass so appealing. He's almost one of the few left that is the traditional hot tag teams. Enzo, let's back up a little bit. Cass starts the match off, looks like he's on fire. Enzo gets tagged in and just gets the ever-living shit kicked out of himself. For about 15 minutes, Enzo just gets pulverized. And that's what you need in a good tag team to set up the hot tag, the big transition, the momentum swing, if you will. But that's only so big old Cass can rest up, because he does not have stamina. Cass is only good in short bursts. It does make for entertainment, but when you're facing the likes of Gallows and Anderson, it just doesn't hold up. Decent match, good match overall. Very crappy ending. Leading up to the ending, it was a crappy little spot that Enzo and Cass did, the Long Island Slam or whatever it's called. Not a good move. Enzo basically jumps off the top rope, lands on his feet, and falls down. Cass supposed to grab him and throw him onto him, doesn't even touch him. Not a good move. But Gallows and Anderson retain. They're still your tag team champions moving forward. I hope it's New Day versus Gallows and Anderson. But I hope they incorporate a Bullet Club angle in it. New Day versus Bullet Club. It's kind of what I hope it's going towards. But again, shitty ending. Enzo's foot was on the rope. Gallows knocks it off. Listen, the foot being on the rope and knocking it off, the spot was too late, yes, and he was on 3 whenever But anyway, his arms were under. His arms were clearly under the bottom rope. And it was just a pathetic it was a pathetic ending to a decent match. Not good writing, not good storytelling. There was no real build-up. There was no real where to go. It wasn't a good match. I wasn't fond of it. Tag team troubles. Tag team division in Raw is in trouble. But I just think the overall brand of Raw is in trouble. Such a bad show. But I gotta keep going, change gears. Let's switch up, transition into Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. Alright, look. Coming into Fastlane, Nia Jax was on a roll. She was being booked in an amazing way. She looked dominant. She looked strong. She looked like she was on the fast track to the title picture. And then you have this match with Sasha Banks. It was a nothing match. There was no realism here. No reality entered into the picture between Nia Jax and Sasha Banks. There's no storytelling. There's no drama. There's just nothing here. It was a good match for me to ignore so I could have a smoke break and get higher than I already was. While that happened, and my highness was achieved, it actually ended up being not a bad match. That's what I have on my paper, literally right under shit match. Not a bad match, but that's because my state of mind had changed. It was a good ending sequence, I'll give them that. But I just don't understand putting an end to the momentum and the momentum that Nia Jax had. I don't understand squashing the dominant force that could be Nia Jax. You were setting up for an amazing pay-per-view, Nia Jax versus Charlotte maybe at WrestleMania. Oh, it could have been great. Or even have Nia Jax become just this dominant force that no one can stop. Hence the reason that you need to pull up like an Asuka or somebody like that. Potential was there. You fucked it away. Nice job, fuckos. Alright. And now I don't know where to go on my ramblings. Because up until this point, the pay-per-view could have been redeemed. There is some redeeming factors left in Fastlane up until this point. 3 decent matches, not real good storytelling. The pre-show was alright with the cruiserweights. Zayn and Joe put on a good match. Enzo and Cass versus Gallows and Anderson was a decent tag team match. I mean, for tag team match sakes, it was a good one. You had the hot tag of Enzo and Cass, the dominant force of Anderson and Gallows, mixing together to be actually entertaining. Nia Jax versus Sasha Banks, we've seen it before, so we knew what to expect. And then we got to this part. And then we arrived here on Fastlane, where they decided let's just throw in a mini episode of Raw right in the middle of a pay-per-view. And we, the fans, are left going, oh, fuck, we know what this means. This means that the final match isn't going to go very long because you have time to fill. Fuck you. Fuck you, 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 fuck you. That's what I have to say about putting this Jinder Mahal Rusev bullshit right in the middle of a pay-per-view. Oh, they're feuding now. Imagine that. I fucking called it. But anyway, for some reason, it was Cesaro versus Jinder Mahal and the Big Show versus Rusev. And the matches weren't squash. They weren't quick matches. They weren't caliber matches either. They were just slapped in the middle of the pay-per-view for no reason whatsoever. No development whatsoever. And it isn't even the matches that we wanted to see. If you're going to throw those 4 wrestlers in matches in the middle of a pay-per-view, Cesaro, Big Show, Jinder Mahal, and Rusev in the middle of a show, why not at least give us, the fans, something to enjoy? And that would have been a Cesaro versus Rusev matchup. And then job out Jinder Mahal to the Big Show because you're wanting the Big Show to get over strong. Leading up to pay-per-view. Leading up to WrestleMania, I mean. It makes no sense. But anyway, it was Cesaro versus Mahal. Crap shit, fucktard match. No reason for it. Cesaro wins. Congratulations. And then Mahal and Rusev battling before, and then after the match, Rusev comes in. All it takes, 3 Machka kicks. I like that little bit, but Rusev attacks Mahal again. Big Show enters versus Rusev for no fucking reason. 2 shit filler matches in a row, back to back, in a fucking pay-per-view. That's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing